Hi everyone, welcome to your Manifesto training. As you'll be aware, you have to produce a manifesto, so we hope that this training just gives you hints and tips that will support you through this process. Over the course of the training, we'll cover why we produce manifestos and what they are, 3 questions to get you started, what you could put in your manifesto, utilising different platforms such as social media, emphasising the importance of being creative, how to have conversations with people over the campaigning process, support in the elections, and rules and important dates. So there are 4 full-time officer roles available. That's President, Sports Officer, Education Officer and Welfare Officer, and a description of these roles can be found on the SU website if you'd like to look at the different things that they do. I'm sure you're wondering what the point in a manifesto is. So the manifesto gives a really clear idea of who you are, why people should vote for you and what you want to achieve, and this enables voters to make an informed decision on who they'd like to vote for. It's another opportunity for you to spread your message, and actually a good manifesto can be the difference between gaining people's votes or not. So what could be the key pieces that make an effective campaign or manifesto? Firstly, as you would do with any job, I think it's really important to reflect on the experiences that you've had in the past and what skills you might have gained from those and how you could use those skills within the role. Secondly, who are you? This one's important. We want to know who you are and how your experiences have shaped and ultimately made you the person you are today, and how that could set you apart from other people. Thirdly, your pledges and promises. This is the opportunity for you to get really passionate about the things that you care about and the things that students really care about, and ultimately ask yourself what you want to change here at UOG. And then we've just got some key questions that you could ask yourself along with building those 3 key pieces into your manifesto. So you could ask yourself, why are you standing, who are you representing, and what are your key ideas to make students' lives better? So we think it's really important to show you some examples of manifestos so you can understand what works and what doesn't. So I thought I'd just give you a few seconds to have a look at this manifesto and come up with some positives and negatives of it. Okay, now that you've done that, I'll just pick out some things that I've noticed. So there's a lot of text on this manifesto. I'm not actually sure what his manifesto points are or what he's hoping to achieve. And there's not really a theme or a slogan or something to remember him by. So I think those are sort of the 3 key things I've picked up from that manifesto. Moving on, I just wanted to show you another manifesto. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to have a little look at that one. And I'll just pick up on a couple of points again. She's used a really good bright yellow colour, so it's quite eye-catching. Her name, if we notice, is called Holly Buttery, and her hashtag is Buttery Side Up. So she's obviously linked that through her campaign and manifesto. And also she has the little icon for toast, and she did actually give out free toast across her campaign. So that just gives something for people to remember her by, which I think is really important. So just sort of a summary of them. I think it's really good to think about a theme or slogan that can run throughout your campaign, just as Holly had done. Think about your audience, think about who you're representing, and what your clear messages are. Now, once you've come up with your manifesto points, you could use the checklist below just to make sure that the points are well thought through. So, for example, if one of our points were free tea for all, we could work through the checklist just to make sure that that was well thought through. So, would it be popular? Ask yourself. Would free tea for all be popular? Would it be winnable? Would it be possible to do that? Is it a motive subject? Is it timely? Is it current? Is it what students care about now? And is it clear? So just spend some time looking at your aims and points and making sure that it's really clear what you're trying to communicate. So for example, more money for students. There's not really a who, there's not a how, there's not a where, there's not a what. It doesn't really tell us anything. So just make sure that your points are really clear and communicate exactly what you want them to say. Obviously, social media is a really important part of campaigning. So obviously have a little look at the points and think about how best you can use it and how creatively you can use it. as I think it's really easy with social media to put a lot of content out but not really think about why we're putting the content out and what we want it to achieve. Posts and flyers are an important part of the campaign process, but I think it's important to note that they are a passive tool and that people see thousands of messages a day. So really be mindful of that when you're creating your posters and flyers, and that they should be used to reinforce your points, not to make your points. As you'll know when you read flyers or posters, what is the best way for people to absorb that information? So as well as social media and flyers and posters, I think it's important to note there are other ways that you can creatively campaign. So sometimes flash mobs can be popular, events that advertise your campaign, stunts, freebies. You could try and get yourself on TV or in the newspaper. Just try and do something that's a little bit out of the box, as that will ensure that you're remembered. You're more than welcome to create a campaign video. So I just left some examples there so you can have a little look at what other previous officers have done. It's just another visual tool that can sort of spread your message. How to have conversations over the campaign process. I think the most important thing to note on this list is to avoid the "do you have a minute" technique. Often you'll ask people, do you have a minute, so you can explain your campaign, and people will say no. So just have a little think about how you can capture their attention and start that conversation. And then just a few other things. Give them something to take away, to remember you by. Be personable and offer follow-up on conversations, so you could take their email address and follow up with them after that. And then dealing with the haters. Obviously not everyone is going to love your campaign as much as you do, and that's fine. And be aware that throughout the elections process and the campaigning process, there are a lot of people campaigning, so a lot of students will have already been spoken to by various other candidates, so just be mindful of that when you're approaching people. And you can't convince everyone, and that's fine. Building your team is really important. They'll often act as your support system throughout the process, so it's a good idea to think about what groups your friends are in. You should ask people that you can trust, as ultimately you'll be responsible for them and the things that they do and the things that they say. Make sure you set up ways for them to get in touch with you, so that might be via WhatsApp or Instagram, Facebook, and make sure you don't hide behind your team. Once you have your campaign team, it will be your responsibility to prepare them, so make sure you get together well in advance. Ensure that they know your message and they know what your manifesto points, and they're really clear about those. Set up opportunities for you to catch up regularly with them. You could set targets, create a timetable for your team so people know where they need to be, when, and what they need to be doing. Next, and ultimately the most important thing to us, is your well-being during the elections process. So campaigning can be a really intense period of time, and we're sort of in this elections bubble. So I think to give that some perspective, it's important to talk to people outside of the university and outside of those that are involved in the process, but obviously we'll also be around if you need to speak to us about anything. Really important to sleep and eat properly. I know it sounds silly, but I think during that period it's really easy to forget about that. So we make sure that we put on a candidate's breakfast during voting week, and we really encourage you to come and take that time with us. So we've got some top tips, just to sort of summarise what we've been talking about. Start with what you want to change, describe the benefits of your ideas, talk to current officers and students. Really important to talk to students about what they care about now. Use clear language, be creative, don't get carried away, don't use too much text. It's about you and your relevant experience, so just remember that you as an individual have something to bring. And then finally, this is our elections timeline, so the most important date that's coming up is midday, the 14th of Feb, which is when we need all of your flyers and posters so that we can print them, and then you'll receive these on the 20th of February at candidates briefing, and that's when campaigning can officially begin. If you've got any questions, then please just drop me an email at the email below, and I hope you've enjoyed the manifesto training. Thank you.